Okay, I know this is the first flipped video you're watching at home. I hope that you have paper and pencil ready, that you have your WSQ beside you so that you'll be able to fill that out after you watch the video. Remember, we always start with our I can statement. So our I can statement today is I can estimate numbers to the nearest 100. This is going to be probably a shorter video because you already know the different strategies that we're going to use to estimate numbers to the nearest 100. It's going to be very similar to estimating numbers to the nearest 10. So make sure you have all your supplies ready. And remember to pause the video so that you can work problems and then restart the video again. Okay, let's get ready. Okay, here's the number I have, 132. So go ahead and write that number down. And then we're going to draw our two dashes out beside it. And instead of before we picked two tens numbers that it was between, so we're going to do the same thing, only we're going to pick hundreds numbers. So when you count by hundreds, 100, 200, 300, 400, 500, you want to think what two hundreds numbers, those benchmark numbers, is 132 between. So 132 is between 100 and 200. Okay? Now you could draw a number line and you could say that I have 100 here and I have 200 here. This would be 150. And if I wanted to kind of guess where 132 would be, it would probably be right in here somewhere. And then I look and see that 132 is closer to 100 than it is to 200. So I would say that 132 estimates, or remember that's a synonym for round, rounds to 100. Okay, so you can use the number line method. Most of us know that that takes quite a while, so we've probably adapted to other methods. So I'm not going to use that one very much. So we're going to do a couple more problems, and I'm going to show you how to apply the mountain strategy to hundreds digits. Okay, so we're going to round 246, and we're going to use the hill strategy. So go ahead and draw your hill, but don't write your numbers in because it's going to look a little different this time. When we did it last time, we wrote 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, well, we're going to do the same thing except that we're going to do tens this time. So this would be 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, and going over here would be 40, 30, 20, and 10. Okay, we're still going to think about those benchmark numbers. So think in your head, what are those going to be? 246 comes between what two hundreds numbers? So 100, 200, 300, 400. 246 comes between 200 and 300. Okay. And then I'm going to look at this number and say, oh, first I'm going to write my benchmark numbers down here. Sorry. So write those down. And then I'm going to think about 246, where would that be on my hill? So 246 is going to be right in here. And then I'm going to think, if I was putting a ball in that spot, would it roll down this direction or would it roll up the hill and over the other side? So I hope that you said that it would roll this way. So we would say that 246 rounds to 200. Okay, why don't you try 175 and use the hill strategy? So go ahead and draw your hill. Remember, the only thing that's different is we're going to write 50, 60, 70, 80, 90. So go ahead and do that. Okay, think of what your benchmark numbers are. Go ahead and pause the video and see if you can plot where this number would go. And then come back and we'll check together. All right, come back and check with me. So 175, I'm looking for those benchmark numbers. Who can tell me? Oh, I could hear you. Comes between 100 and 200. Then I'm going to look to see about where 75 would be. Well, I'm going to write my numbers down. I did that same thing again. So here's 100 and 200. And then I know that 175 is going to be kind of right in here. And so if I look at where, if I dropped my ball there, it would go right here. And so 175 is going to round to 200. Good job. Okay, so let's do some practice with just the rules. So you've kind of got the hang of the mountain, and you can definitely use that strategy if it works for you. But I want to show you how to move beyond the mountain. So let's look at 341. So write that number down. Write our 2 lines out to the side of it. Okay, when we need to know what we are rounding to. So we are rounding numbers to the nearest 100. So what I want you to do is circle the hundreds place. So we're going to circle the 3. That's the number we're rounding to. That's always the number we circle. That's going to be important later. And then we underline the number that's next to it. That's our bossy digit. So when we're rounding to the nearest 100, our bossy digit is the 10. When we were rounding to the nearest 10, our bossy digit was the 1. So you always circle what you're rounding to. So we're rounding to the 100, so we circled the 3, and our bossy digit is next to it. Okay, so our bossy digit is a 4, and that's when I look up here and I refer to the rules. So a 4 tells us that we go down to the lower benchmark number. So our benchmark numbers for 341 are 300 and 400, and 341 is going to round to 300. Okay, let's do another example. Okay, let's try this one. We've got 468. So I'm rounding to the nearest 100. So we're going to circle that hundreds digit. I'm going to underline the tens digit. That's our bossy digit. And then I'm going to write my benchmark numbers down. So think when I count by hundreds, 100, 200, 300, 400, 500, what 2 numbers does it come between? So 468 comes between 400 and 500. And then I'm going to look at my rule. So I'm going to look at my bossy digit. My bossy digit is a 6. So I look up here at my rule, and it says I need to go up to the higher benchmark number. So I'm going to move that 4 up, and it becomes a 5, 500. Okay, let's do, I'm going to give you a few more to practice on. Okay, write these numbers down, and I want you to go ahead and try to do these on your own. Don't forget that we are going to circle what we're rounding to. So we're rounding to the hundreds place, so circle all of those. Underline your bossy digit, which is right next door. And then go ahead and refer to your rule and see if you can figure out the rest. And then go ahead, pause the video, and then come back and check your work. Okay, so I have filled in all the answers. I filled in your benchmark numbers. So let's look at 256. The 5 is that rule where it's dead at the top of the hill, but mathematicians have told us that if it's a 5 or bigger, then it's going to go up to the next benchmark number. So 256 rounds to 300. 341, bossy digit. Bossy digit is a 4. So my rule says that I round down to 300. Bossy digit here is an 8. So it bosses that 6 and moves it up to the next benchmark number. Okay, I hope that you did really well. I'm proud of you for working so hard. We've come to the end of the video, so we'll work more at school on this. Remember, if you had trouble, you can ask Mom to give you a few more problems, or come to school ready to learn more about it. So we've come to the end. So that means that it's time for the joke of the video. Okay, are you ready? It's a good one. Why can't you play baseball in the jungle? Because there's too many cheetahs. Ba-dum-bump. See you at school. Bye.